March 8th, 2016. Tom Clancy's The Division finally landed 2 years after its initial release date, but we all knew it'd be worth the wait. Bringing hope and aspirations to the heart of the gaming community with its unique concept and realistic approach in the form of an apocalyptic New York City. Yes, that's right, as an agent of The Division, you are America's last hope and civilization's last line of defense after a man-made virus called green poison sweeps through the streets of New York City, and one by one, basic services start to fail. Along with the other 6.4 million agents, I took to the streets of Hell's Kitchen and Times Square like a young Jason Bourne fresh out of a coma. Reaching level 30 in true Usain Bolt fashion, the Dark Zone is where all the big dicks hang out. With its PvE and PvP cross-setting tailored to perfection, you would battle your way through Rikers, Cleaners and LMB to find the best gear the game had to offer. Trying to extract those spoils with other agents ready to go rogue though was a different story. At a drop of a hat, you could create Wild West standoffs Steve McQueen himself would be proud of. 2 weeks into the game, the first patch dropped. With a game with such a unique concept, there were bound to be a few teething problems. We could handle that as a community though, allowing Ubisoft to make the gaming experience better for us all. They did, however, probably create more problems than solve them, or didn't address the issues the community had, like the fucking stun lock from more than one shock turret. You'd be frozen to the spot like a deer in the headlights until someone turned you into Swiss cheese. On a brighter note though, a month later we did get our first taste of what was to come. The devs dropped their first free incursion, Falcon Lost, bringing a high-risk, high-reward feature to the game, where teamwork would certainly make the dream work. They also introduced gear scores and gear sets, which kind of meant those high-end gold gears you'd spent hours upon hours grinding for, fucking worthless. Nevertheless, the gear sets were a new feature in the game, and also gave longevity going forward. The Division Patch 1.2 Conflict. Conflict seen another incursion drop in the form of Clear Sky, and we were introduced to 4 new gear sets. HVTs also hit the base of operations, breathing some much needed life into the forgotten PvE world, and we've seen a much needed increased drop rate in those gear set items. I mean, it felt like I was hitting my head against a brick wall trying to find those striker gloves. Patch 1.3 Underground. Underground was the breaking point for many players. The Division was well and truly fucked at this point. Rumours circulated that 80% of the community had finally had enough of this broken platform. If it wasn't for the one-shot builds in the Dark Zone or the broken mechanics like being able to walk through walls with mobile cover, it might have been the hours you'd put into getting the right gun or gear with the right talents or attributes for Massive to nerf your build beyond recognition and making it as useful as a chocolate teapot. They did, however, introduce the recalibration station in a last-ditch attempt where you could re-roll one talent for your weapon or attribute for your gear, but for the majority this was too little too late. The balancing was fucked. In patch 1.4 the community demanded answers. Instead they got survival. Don't get me wrong, many people love survival to this day, but considering the problems patch 1.3 Underground provided, there were clearly more pressing matters at hand. Moving on to patch 1.5. In patch 1.5 see the introduction of the super rare exotic gears which are as useless today as they were when they were first released. And also there was the standard nerfing of any gear sets you'd grinded for, instead of making the other gear sets less shit. The Division patch 1.6 Last Stand rounded off the first year content with some big plays. There was the Last Stand expansion and the Dark Zone got its own expansion in the forms of Zones 7, 8 and 9. This brought more landmarks to clear, more extraction points, and it boasted a massive underground system where if you could handle the heat, you could get the pinnacle of the loot. Year 2 content started off with a bang in the form of global events. If there wasn't enough pointless in-game currencies already, at least the global event credits had some use. You could buy guaranteed caches which included yet a higher rated gear set in the form of classified gear sets. Having 6 of these instead of your standard 4-piece gear sets would unlock some higher tier buffs, making you feel like Johnny fucking Rambo. So, as you probably gathered, everything you grinded for over the past 12 months was yet again as useful as an underwater hairdryer. So, out with the old and in with the new, the grind was back on yet again. Patch 1.8 introduced Westside Pier's extension to the world map. Inside it had resistant missions, very much a carbon copy of Call of Duty Zombies, where you would tackle waves of LMB, opening doors and seeing how long you could last for bang average rewards. But at least our gear sets, weapons, talents and skills start to feel a bit more balanced at this point. It's only 18 months into the game, it's not like anybody will notice. If there's anyone else left, that is. No, but on a serious note, and yes I do have some, the numbers start to pick up again. The game seemed to have turned a corner. It started to look like the game we wish we had at the start. Division 1.8 felt like an apology to the community for the game's poor showing up until this point, and also with an ill-tuned $40 season pass, it felt similar to when Barcelona lost Neymar to PSG. I felt betrayed. The Division has certainly had more low points than high. The lowest point is arguable, but the high point isn't. The Division's high point was right now, 22 months after launch, we finally getting a great game. So, moving forward to E3 2018. Ubisoft announced The Division 2 and there's been plenty to divulge. And with The Division coming to the end of its life cycle, who would have thought? The moment the devs down tools is the moment The Division gets fucking interesting. So the sleeper agents in us once again have arisen in their numbers, taking to the streets of New York. Spurred on by the monthly shields, the game is as busy as Times Square during rush hour. I now have a reason to grind a Dark Zone, legendary missions and all those mediocre expansions once again. From the plague of the exploiters to the disappointing early add-ons, things looked grim. But with some hard work from Massive, well, I mean they could have threw the towel in like a beaten Apollo Creed, but instead they carried on like a young Even Drago. We finally got a great game. And with the prospect of The Division 2 right around the corner, I can't fucking wait till the 15th of March 2019.